So year after year, we get a brand new device, and at this point, we already know them by heart, and we usually only get minor updates. The beginning of the year, we have the Galaxy S range, which has always sort of been the flagship launch for Samsung every year, and I would say mainly because of the Ultra. But this year, Samsung threw a curveball by making some impressive changes to the Fold7 and turning their foldable into somewhat of an Ultra device as well, with some actual meaningful changes. Now, this is mostly my first impressions of the device, what my experience has been for the first couple of days using it, and some slight comparisons compared to the Fold6 that I briefly tried last year. So this year, the key highlight you have probably heard a lot is that the Fold7 is thin, and there's a reason for that. You see, it is actually really impressive just how slim and light this fold is. When folded closed, it is exactly the same thickness as my S25 Ultra, but it of course can fold open to have this more tablet-esque design. And once it's folded open, it is barely thicker than a USB-C port at the bottom, which really puts that into perspective. It also feels really solid in hand, which was one of the first things that jumped into my head when I held it for the first time. The design for me is slowly growing on me with the triple camera layout at the back that is more on this sort of podium instead of being flat and just having sort of the lenses protrude. But we of course know why that is, and that is mainly because there is technically only half a phone that really can house the internals of the camera and sort of the lenses. So I guess, you know, that is sort of the trade-off. But just because it's thinner doesn't mean that it is flimsy. Like I said, in hand, the device feels amazing, and the new hinge system feels really solid and sturdy, and it is built to last. It can be folded over 500,000 times, which in theory means you can fold this phone hundreds of times for many years and it will completely be fine. And even though I'm not gonna try and like snap it in half this way, it really isn't that possible, as shown in Jerry Rig Everything's video, which I will link down below for you to look at and sort of see that breaking it and bending it this way, it's sturdy all the way around. Now, someone that has used the Fold6, the screen size of the Fold7 for me is a massive upgrade. Finally, it feels like you can use the phone while it is closed and in this sort of standard slab phone shape, even if you have larger hands. And even though this isn't the exact same screen aspect ratio as the S25 Ultra, for example, this front display is actually really usable, which I like. Because like I said, I have used the Fold6, and from the second I started using this one, it felt instantly more comfortable to use. And then of course, a bigger outside screen translates into a bigger inside display, which once again, I am a massive fan of. I love all the different ways that you can use it, from using it as almost like a stand to watch videos on a table. Plus it of course also makes it really easy to film content as well, which is a very unique use case for myself and probably a handful of other people. But you can keep it slightly folded open to really use the phone as its own tripod in essence, to either film horizontally or vertically, which is pretty cool. But then you can also fold it open completely and multitask, which the other day I actually used it to have a PDF document on the one side and a web browser on the other side to sort of reference everything from the dock. And both of them were technically full screen, and it was almost like using two smartphones, which was really handy and was something my S25 Ultra can't do, which is really what makes these phones different and what makes them amazing. And then of course, first impressions is also just really good at viewing content. Reading and using it like a Kindle is also pretty handy, but also just in general, reading documents when it's folded open is much easier as the text is bigger, which is great as I am getting older every day. So yeah. Plus, going from slab phone to tablet mode is really seamless. You can be using it as a slab and then just sort of fold it open when needed, and everything sort of changes over. Now, that also makes it possible to, of course, take better selfies, because instead of relying on the front camera for a selfie, you can technically just fold the phone open and use the back camera, which is pretty insane. And what makes it even more insane is the fact that they've added those more ultra features like the 200 megapixel camera. And yes, I know it isn't the exact same 200 megapixel as we have on the S25 Ultra, which I will dive deeper into on my full review, but it is still really great. You know, it does perform really well. It still has a 12 and a 50 megapixel camera as well. You can shoot log video. So really the gap between the Fold and the Ultra has really closed. It's almost like you don't have to make the choice anymore between owning an Ultra and a Fold with this year's model. You can either have the Ultra or you can have both. So that's nice. Now these of course also ship with One UI 8 directly out of the box, which we have seen from the launch has a bunch of really cool features added like customizability, as well as some extra cool AI stuff, which even though is only a slight step up from the Ultra, for example, is a massive leap from the Fold 6. So honestly, all around this device has really just been great. I actually also really like the blue, but it also does come in a few other color options like silver and jet black. But for me, the blue is definitely my favorite, with the second option probably being black. And I think what I'm trying to get to is that all these features really surprised me. There are little things here and there that really just catch your attention, and first impressions, like they say, are everything. I think the more I use the Fold 7, the more it surprises me, and that is what I love about the Fold 7. It is a tool for creativity, just like any other Samsung device, but of course this one has a little bit of a secret. Now if you're thinking of grabbing one for yourself, the Fold 7 will be available in stores for purchase from the 1st of August 2025, and they have some really cool launch specials as well, so it honestly is the best time to just pick one up now.